Chris here, and welcome to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to bring you my TBR for Camp Seasonathon. So this is a month-long readathon hosted by Kaylani, Mel, and Clint, and I will link their channels and announcement videos below. And this year for Camp Seasonathon, they each have TBR games, and they played TBR games to choose their prompts. And you got to pick which team you were going to be on, and I'm going to be on Kaylani's team, because her prompts fit best for books I wanted to get to this month, or just my reading taste in general. That being said, first up is blind pick. And the way I went about this is I put 4 books out on my kitchen table, let my mom kind of mix them up, and then picked one and I couldn't see. And I will pop to the footage of me doing that now. Okay, I'm going to close my eyes now.
Go?
Yep. And you put them in whatever order you want.
Okay.
Okay, now you're gonna move me.
Yeah.
Okay, you can see all the books on the camera screen, yes?
Yeah.
Okay, lock every door. Not what I wanted. So, as you can see for blind pick, I will be reading Lock Every Door by Riley Sager. I have an interesting relationship with Riley Sager because I've loved some of their books and I've hated some of their books. So we're going to see how this one goes. It's a thriller mystery, so I don't want to know anything about it anyways going into it. I have no idea whether this is the one that a lot of people like or is one that less people like, because I feel like a lot of people have a love-hate relationship with Riley Sager's books, but we're going to give this a go and see if I enjoy this particular novel by Riley Sager. Then we had to do a buddy read, and for this I'll be reading Piggled Petunia, which is the 3rd book in the Mott's Cold Case Mystery Series, and this follows Mott's, who is asexual and autistic, so I love the rep, and we get to see her solve crimes. I will be buddy reading this with my friend Phoenix, so very excited to be getting to this one. Really, really enjoy this series, and looking forward to seeing what Mott's & Co. get up to next. Then I had to do a random color generator, and I will insert the footage here of me spinning, and I spun 3 times, and as you can see, I got salmon. And for that, I'm going to go with the Witchlings. I think the skirt that this character right here is wearing is a pretty salmon-y color. This is a 5-star prediction. Spoiler for that video, I haven't filmed it yet. But this is going to be one of my 5-star predictions for my next round, and it says, can 3 witches do the impossible? Every year in the magical town of Ravenskill, young witchlings participate in the Black Moon ceremony, are placed into covens, and come into their powers as full-fledged witches. 7 Salazar can't wait to be placed in House Hyacinth. She's worked so hard to get the best possible placement, and to avoid being a spare, a leftover witch with lesser powers, looked down on by everyone. But on the night of the ceremony, 7 isn't placed into House Hyacinth, or in one of the 5 covens at all. She's a spare. Even worse, when 7 and the other 2 spares perform the magic circle to seal their coven, it doesn't work. They're stuck as witchlings and will lose their magical abilities for good. 7 invokes her only option, the impossible task. The 3 spares must defeat the dreaded Night Beast. If they work together and succeed, they'll gain their full powers. If they fail, well, the last coven to make the attempt ended up being turned into toads. Forever. So I think this is going to have maybe some found family vibes, because I could see the 3 witchlings becoming really, really tight. It's obviously going to have magic. It's a magical school setting. It feels like everything I would like in a middle grade fantasy, so I'm hoping that I love this. And like I said, I think that girl's skirt is kind of the color I was looking for, so we're going to go with it. Next, we had to read a book with multiple POVs, and I'm going to be reading The Blood of Olympus by Rick Riordan. This is the 5th book in the Heroes of Olympus series. I'm doing a bit of a Percy Jackson universe read-along on my Discord. My Discord is linked down below if you'd like to hop on and join in. And Blood of Olympus is one of the books we're reading this month, and it definitely has multiple POVs, and I can't wait to dive back in and wrap up my reread of Heroes of Olympus. Next, we got Big Book, which means a book over 500 pages, and I'm going to read Empire of Gold by S.A. Chakraborty. This is the 3rd and final book in this trilogy, and I am so excited to be getting to this. It is definitely a big book. I think it's over like 700 pages. Yeah. Close to 750, actually. Nope, a little over 750. So a little over 750 pages, definitely over that 500 page mark, and I am very, very excited to wrap up this trilogy and find out how it ends. Then we got free pick, and for this I'm going to go with The Rise and Reign of Mammals by Steve Brusatte. This is my nonfiction pick of the month, and I really enjoyed The Rise and the Fall of Dinosaurs by him. I think I read that in March, maybe April, March or April, as my nonfiction. And I love the way he kind of laid out his history of that. So I'm very curious to see how he lays things out in this one and what interesting tidbits I pick up. And I thought for free pick, this would be a nice way to kind of break up my TBR and get a different genre on there. Then we got 5-star prediction. And for this, I'm going to read The Once and Future Geek by Mary Mancusi. This is the last 5-star prediction I have for, I think, round 9. Witchlings would be for round 10. And I would like to get to this so that I can move on to round 10 and wrap up round 9. This is a King Arthur retelling, and a young King Arthur will accidentally transport himself to the 21st century, where our two main characters, Sophie and Stu, kind of have to figure out a way to get him home. I really, really hope I like this. It sounds like it's another one that has a lot of elements I like, because I like the time travel twist and retellings, and it's going to be interesting to see how, like, King Arthur, this mythical character, is interacting with real people, and if in this world King Arthur is a mythical character. So very, very curious to see how this one turns out. Then we had to read a gifted book, and I basically had 4 choices for this because books are not something that are given to me very often, and 2 would have been rereads, so I decided to skip them. 1 would have been a very, very chunky fantasy that I was not in the mood for, so I went with the 4th, and that is Crowfall by Vashti Hardy. I got this from Press Peruses in a giveaway, but it is gifted. I didn't buy it for myself. And this says, the stories insisted there were worlds of adventure beyond. Orin Crowfall has lived his whole life on Ironhold, an orderly island committed to industry. But Orin learns a terrible secret. The island is dying and everyone is at risk. Can he and his robot friend Cody evade the authorities and save their home? A rip-roaring island-hopping adventure, an unforgettable ecological fable. I think this sounds amazing. I've really liked the Bright Storm series by Vashti Hardy, so I'm hoping I love this one as well. And I'm very, very thankful to Press for gifting this to me. Then we had to read a middle grade, and I'm going to be reading Talons of Power for this. This is the 9th book in the Wings of Fire series. It follows Clans of Dragons. I've really enjoyed this series, especially this arc, because the first 5 books had a prophecy and kind of wrapped that prophecy up. And now in what I'm going to assume are the second 5, we're going to be dealing with this second prophecy that we got in book 6. So very much enjoying this series. Love the dragons that we're following in this series, and curious to see how things progress in this one, because a lot of interesting things happened in the last one. And then the last prompt was to randomize your TBR. So I have footage here of me doing just that. I random number generated 3 times, came up with a number, pulled up my spreadsheet, and the number that came up was the book I ended up choosing. And for this, I'm going to be reading Always the Last to Know by Kristen Higgins. Absolutely was not on my radar this month, which is why Randomize Your TBR can be such a fun prompt. This says, Barb and John Frost are testy and bored with each other after 50 years of marriage. At least they have their daughters, Barb's favorite Juliet and John's darling Sadie. The girls themselves couldn't be more different, but they all get along, more or less. Until the day John has a stroke and their house of cards comes tumbling down. Now Sadie has to return home to care for her beloved dad and face the love of her old life. Now Juliet has to wonder if people will notice that despite her perfect life, she's spending an increasing amount of time in her closet having panic attacks. And now Barb and John will finally have to confront what's been going on in their marriage all along. So, an adult contemporary, very much out of my comfort zone, not something I typically read, but we shall see. I believe I got this out of a free little library, so if I don't like it, at least I didn't spend any money on it, but this is the last book I will be reading for Camp Seasonathon. So yeah, that's my TBR. It is quite eclectic, and I'm very thankful because there was a lot of ways that could have gone wrong. Because, I mean, for instance, there's a book right here. This sucker could have come up for Randomize Your TBR, which I would not have been happy about. I had a lot more control over the color, and then with the 4 books, I picked 2 I wanted to read and 2 I didn't, and let my mom pick, because, well, help me pick, because otherwise I had no idea how I was going to do that. But I think it worked out well. I have a very eclectic TBR, so hopefully it'll keep me from hitting any slumps, and I'm quite looking forward to taking part. Are you taking part in Camp Seasonathon? If so, let me know whose team you chose in the comment section below. All of my social media is listed in the description below if you'd like to come chat with me. If you've made it this far in the video, leave me emojis of things that you would find when you're camping. Like this video and subscribe to my channel, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye!